Hello and welcome to our class on communities and populations. This lesson is 1.3, Human Population Growth. My name is Lauren Davis. I'm the instructor, one of the instructors of this class. So as we look at human population growth through time, we can kind of see some interesting things happening. You've probably heard of the world population explosion and that there's going to be even more and more drain on our natural resources because of the increase in population. But looking at human population growth is an interesting study. As you see on this slide, you can see that there is a curve that has come about due to human population growth. You see that the curve starts at the year 1300 AD, and it was a pretty gradual rise in the world population all the way up until around the 1900s. Okay, and what happened in the world, there was a large death rate. People just didn't live as long, but there was also a large birth rate. Okay, so they both complemented one another, and the world population just didn't go up that fast because the death rate was high, but the birth rate was high as well. In the 1700s, we began to understand what made people die, what made them sick, and how to avoid a lot of the illnesses that people get throughout their life, and people started living longer. And so the first stage of this rapid population growth, where the death rate really went down, okay, but the birth rate stayed up. We still need lots of workers on the farms. We needed people, our kids, to help out in many different ways. And so the birth rate stayed high, death rate went down, and the human population started to increase. As time went on, we found out in developed countries that we didn't need the children to do much of the work that they had in the past. The Industrial Revolution came through. Okay, machines started doing a lot of the work that the kids did before. We started putting in child labor laws, and we just didn't need as many children to help with the chores that we had around the farm. So the birth rate started to decline as well. So when the birth rate goes down, the death rate goes down. Then in developed countries, it starts to go through a transition where the population growth slows down. And so in developed countries, we have more of a decline in the total population over time as the developed country becomes more and more developed. Unfortunately, the world population is not all in developed countries. Still, the underdeveloped countries have high birth rates, some have lowering death rates, and so the population in the world continues to go up at about 200,000 people a year. So this is the world population, and in the reading you'll see that by 2050 AD, we might have as many as 9 billion people inhabiting the planet. So you can see on this graph that many of the areas around the world are having an increase in the population, but some more than others. You see that Europe, being pretty developed, is starting, by the green line here, is starting to taper off and maybe even go down a little bit as far as the world population go. But some of the others are having a more dramatic increase. So in the future, we're going to have to figure out how we can deal with this rapid growth in our human population. Okay, that's where the government officials will come up with policies and procedures on how to disperse the type of resources that we have, and that's going to be something that's going to be more and more of an issue as time goes on if the birth rate and the death rates and the human population growth stay as they are now, and we keep adding more and more people every day.